Welcome back to the PH Insider. Before the break, we discussed the broader implications of the ongoing ICC confirmation hearings involving former President Rodrigo Duterte. This time, we turn our attention inside the courtroom, focusing on the performances of lead defense counsel, Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, and the prosecution during their respective presentations. How did both sides deliver their arguments? Which legal strategies stood out? And what impact could these early exchanges have as the proceedings move forward? Let's continue the discussion. Still with us in this conversation tonight is the Dean of the UE College of Law, Dean Amado Valdez. Sir, ano po yung assessment nyo dito? Ito pong overall performance ng lead itong defense counsel, si Attorney Kaufman, during the ICC confirmation hearings. Did his presentation effectively challenge the prosecution's narrative at this early stage of the proceedings?
Ang problema dyan, sir, is whether he has offended the sensibilities of the judges. Kasi human beings din. Kaya he was only tight-put. So, if he argues strongly, because that is the most that's the best option, but it might be taken as making one upmanship over the judges. So the problem dyan is the case may proceed to a hearing. But the objective naman ni Kaufman dyan is after this, he will file a motion to dismiss. So, bill of particulars para enumerate na nyo kung ano ba yung mga crimes against humanity.
Alright.
And then, go for the motion to dismiss.
Alright, I think that's all for now, unless may caballeros here.
Wala na akong tatanong pa kay Dean.
Alright, any message now for the Filipino people, Dean, as far as maybe a few more statements for the Filipino people?
Then let's pray that justice is done. Yun lang.
Alright.
Justice is done, and let's pray, and I think the justice will be given here for the Filipino people. But there are victims. I think the victims should always go to our local courts and ask for compensation. Just in case. But hindi naman sila matatala. Everybody will win or lose in a particular. So that is about that.
Okay. Alright,
Okay, sir, thank you for having me. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Atty. Unay, and then thank you very much.
Thank you
very much po, Dean.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Dean. We appreciate your time. Dean, Attorney Amado Valdez, the former Dean of the UE College of Law. Yeah. Alright, pag-usapan na natin ito. Napakadaming inputs, no? Professor Dennis, Attorney Reyzandro. Sige, anong tututukan muna natin? Itong argumento nga, during the presentation. In the first couple of days of the proceedings, itong confirmation of charges, both parties were able to lay down the cards on the table. They were able to do the presentations. Their arguments were vaguely expressed. Anong tingin natin? Sino mas nangingibabaw doon yan? Sige nga.
Si Dean.
Curious ako dito kay Dr. Dennis Coronacion.
Si Dr. Coronacion muna.
Sige.
Actually, parehong maganda yung yung mga yung respective arguments nila. Yung sa prosecution side, ang gustong sabihin, kagaya yung pinoint out kanina ng attorney, is that there's a hierarchy. There's a command structure. Command responsibility. Na kung magman, it's not just the action of a single individual. There's a, this is an action of so many individuals. And on top of this hierarchy was the president, the former president. On the other hand, sa kabila naman, sinasabi, well, this is politically motivated. Di ba? Kaya sabi ng defense, magandang magandang explore pareho Oo, kaya yun ang gusto kong itanong kay attorney.
Hindi, maganda kasi yung yung pagdi-discredit din sana ni Kaufman kasi ang laro lang naman talaga dito niya ay i-discredit niya yung nilalatag ng prosecution para hindi ma-admit. Kung yung allegations na politically motivated itong lahat, mas maganda sana, tama si Dr. Dennis, na dinagdagan niya nung sinasabi ni Dr. Dennis na ito, pwede naman sana ito dito, our courts are functioning here, dito lang ito dapat. Bakit ito dinala dito? Precisely because it is politically motivated. So, isa yun sa mga maganda sanang inano ni Kaufman.
Binigyan ng diin.
Binigyan ng diin. But then again, siguro, ang nakikita niya, because ang laro talaga dito ay, ito ang uphill dito talaga yung prosecution.
Sinasabi kasi noon, na kaya naman din dinala sa ICC dahil nga kung dito sasampahan ng kaso, ang dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ay hindi daw uusad o walang mangyayari. Noon, lalo na nung siya ay presidente pa. Because I believe marami ng groups ang interesado noon na magsampa. Pero tila, kailangan pa bang dalhin sa ICC para ma-resolve itong mga di umano'y extrajudicial killings na mga nangyari during his time? Or pwede namang dito na lang pag-usapan? Ay, patuloy na debate yan. Kasi ang argumento ng depensa sa ngayon ay nananatili, I believe, na sabi pa nga, we have a robust justice system. It should be done here. Hindi nga binabanggit doon.
But to be fair sa mga nagdududa sa justice system natin, palagay ko ang hugot nila.
Okay.
I'm just being objective here. Palagay ko ang hugot nila, matagal nila sinasabi na majority, in fact more than half of the Supreme Court ay appointee ni President Duterte.
Okay.
But can you blame the man? Constitutional duty niya yan na mag-appoint. Kasi panahon niya, maraming nababakante, hindi naman po pwede na hindi siya mag-appoint.
Bakit hindi palitan yung mga in-appoint kung talaga may duda?
I-impeach mo yun. pero ito lang ang pero ito lang ang napansin ko.
Position yung...
Nung dinala siya sa Hague, nung time na yun, may petition agad-agad na dinala sa Supreme Court. If I remember, sina Atty. Vic Rodriguez. Kung nandun agad ang pagkampi ng Supreme Court, ng majority ng Supreme Court, bakit hindi nangyari yun? Nadala pa rin siya. Walang TRO, immediate TRO na nangyari. So, yun. It remains to be weighed ng mga tao. Kung bakit tama ba na dalhin siya sa ICC despite this thing. Kasi nadidebunk din naman yung mga sinasabi nila na more than the majority ng Supreme Court ay appointee ni President Duterte. Di ba? So, yun ang aking namang punto sa to be objective about the both sides.
Actually, ang tinutumbok ko kasi talaga natin dito. Remember that I think, if I'm not mistaken, these complaints were filed during his presidency pa.
Right.
He was still president. Kaya nga lang, inabot na to ng pagbaba niya sa pwesto. At doon lang nagkaroon ng mga major developments sa pag-usad ng kaso. What we're trying to point out, I think this is what most scholars are trying to point out, even in civil society, na kapag ikaw ay VIP o naging high-ranking government official like the president, ang problema is that we have here a culture of impunity. Ibig sabihin, kung mataas na tao ka at may mga wrongdoings ka habang ikaw ang nasa pwesto, ang mangyayari, papagkibit balikat na lamang ng mga Pilipino. Tinotolerate ng karamihan ng mga Pilipino.
Pikit mata na lang.
Pikit mata na lang. Kaya yun ang takot ng mga gustong i-prosecute si former President Duterte. Na kapag sa local courts, kasi kahit hindi na siya yung presidente, may influence pa rin siya. Gaya nga sinasabi ni Atty. At saka kayo, na I think still majority of the Supreme Court justices
were appointed
by the former president and possibly would have a debt of gratitude to the former president.
Pinoy tayo. Yung utang na loob. Okay.
Pero ang exception doon na sinabi kanina ni Jean Amado Valdez ay, bakit naman si ERAP? Presidente naman din siya noon. Diba? Na mag-shot din naman siya, nakulong din siya dito. Na-carry over yung ano niya dito, yung kaso niya. So,
well, sabi pa nga nung isa nating kaibigan, dito din, kung hahayaan sana dito mangyari, o dito yung mga proceedings na yan gagawin, it's also a test din ng justice system natin. And dito rin natin makikita kung talagang patas nga ba at pinapractice yung tama, kung anong tama. Di ba? Hindi yung kasi palagay ko lahat ito parang dahil nga paano to pinagdududahan mo yung kakayanan o pagiging impartial ng mga nasa Korte Suprema o nasa Judikatura para timbangin ang merito ng mga kasong ito.
I think it's not so much on the partiality or impartiality. Kung hindi ang problema yung mga institutions natin Whether or not our institutions, including the judiciary, are capable of, not being influenced by political forces.
Yun na nga
as they go on in performing their functions.
This is when you'll be able to show the public how independent you are. Notwithstanding the fact that at one point you were appointed by, let's say, the president himself or by the administration.
Pero palagay ko, ang pagkakaiba ng Erap, Estrada at saka Duterte, kung kukontrahin ko yung sarili ko.
Sige.
Grabe ang following ng Duterte dito sa Pilipinas, pati sa abroad. Makita mo naman, kahit sahig nandun sila. So, probably, inisip din itong mga nag-aakusa kay Presidente, mahihirapan tayo dito. Medyo talaga mabigat yung ng hangin ng suporta. Isa din yun sa makaka-influence siguro. So, well, of course, it is developing sa political natin, challenges natin dito sa Pilipinas. Nakakalungkot na nakikita natin na parang lahat na lang ng galawan natin. Hindi po pwedeng walang anggulo ng politika. Pero isa pa pala, naalala ko ngayon, dapat kanina pa ito, natatanong ko sana kay
Dean Valdez.
Paano itong affidavit nitong 18 Marines? Makaka-apekto pa ba ito? Kasi sinasabi dito, meron sila mga allegations na in-influensyan daw from the money at saka yung mga in-interview lang yung mga investigators ng ICC dito sa Pilipinas ay yung ibinigay lang sa kanila ni Senator Trillanes, former Senator Trillanes.
Pero alam mo, may argument dyan na narinig ko din Hindi naman, wala naman daw bearing yung mga binigyan na investigators. Kung binigyan nga o tumanggap nga naman. Dahil una, hindi naman sila magde-decide, hindi naman sila judge
Oo.
Di ba? Pero, I mean, kung meron man bearing, siguro nakikita ko doon, at the end of the day, siguro doon sa konteksto na yung pag-i-issue ng warrant, gano'n lang. Pero hindi doon sa kabuuan ng kaso. Pero, I don't know, maraming kuro-kuro dyan. Is that really possible for them to receive $2 million? And paano mo ilalabas nga naman ng bansa? Saan mo gagamitin dito yung 100 plus million pesos or pesos dito sa Pilipinas? Considering few days lang naman. May mga ganong argument. Pero pag-uusapan natin yan sa ibang episode natin. Balik lang tayo dito sa usaping itong presentation ng depensa at saka ng prosecution. Kasi may mga legal strategy I understand that they employ, especially for example the prosecution as represented by the defense as represented by its counsel, si Attorney Kaufman. Ano ba yung mga tingin mo pinaka-evident na approach to defend the former president?
Well,
go ahead, please.
I think ang isa sa mga ni Reyes is that yung mga na-capture ng mga videos, speeches ni former president, ang sinasabi nung counsel, si Attorney Kaufman, was that they were all just rhetoric and hyperbolic, in-exaggerate lang niya. Pag sinabi niya, patayin niyo yan, yung ganun. So, hindi naman daw talaga, walang intent on the part of the former president to have those suspects killed.
Pwedeng bluff lang daw.
Just to instill discipline.
Yes.
To instill fear. Para takot.
Psychological warfare.
Parang
sabi
deterrent.
Nauso yung Saywar noon, yung panahon ni Fidel Ramos. Anyway, dito hindi ginagamit. Pero parang ganun lang sinasabi.
Oo, tama. So parang ang doon is that patunayan mo intent. Nagsalita nga yung Pangulo, pero patunayan yung intent. Yun ang gusto sabihin sa prosecution.
Well, doon nila hihimayin yun hindi niya gagawin yan dyan kasi malalatag na kaagad yung pinaka-main evidence niya kung pupunta man sa trial. So, ang na lang natin dyan siguro, interestingly, napansin ko, naaral natin na pati pala itong mga public statements, speeches, interviews, public interviews, ay ano pala sa ICC. At tinatanggap din pala ito as evidences.
Lalo na kasi pronouncements ang dating sa kanila.
Yes. So, ang problema lang kung paano mo yun i-connect papunta dun sa actual na commission ng crime.
Yun yung aabangan natin.
Yun, oh.
Okay. For the meantime, we'll just pause for a break. So when the PH Insider returns, we continue our in-depth coverage as Balacadiang clarifies that there are currently no discussions on the Philippines rejoining the International Criminal Court following renewed calls from lawmakers urging the country's return to the ICC in line with its human rights commitments and international obligations. All these developments and their possible implications when the PH Insider on TV returns after the break.